Hi, everybody. I am really excited to be here with you today. And I'm really happy to have you. I'm glad you're watching. And it's been a really long time and I missed you. So I thought that even though I have one of the most insane months and weeks of my whole life, I would jump on Facebook Live, talk to you about the Nonprofit Technology Conference and just say hi. I'd love to know where you're watching from if you are watching this live. I'm in cold, rainy Boston. It's pouring rain outside right now. Josh is not here with me today. Let me just adjust the camera here. Josh is not here with me today. He is on vacation with his family in sunny, warm Florida. So I hope they're having a blast. And he will be back with me next week. We're going to talk about our sessions for the Association of Fundraising Professionals International Conference, AFP Icon, that is on, oh my gosh, March 30th. That's when we're going to go to San Antonio. This Sunday, I'm headed to Nebraska. I'm going to be speaking at Cause Camp, which is going to be amazing. And if you are anywhere near there and you're interested, message me because I have a special coupon code for you. And then I will be on Cape Cod, March 28th, speaking at the Digital Technology Summit. So a little bit going on here. So today I just thought that I would jump on and recap some of my sessions from the Nonprofit Technology Conference. It was last week. I can't believe it was a week ago already. It was last week. It was amazing. It was in Portland, Oregon. And the Nonprofit Technology Conference is an annual conference put on by N10, which is a nonprofit technology network. And this conference is it's my favorite conference of the year because of the level of inclusivity, the warmth, the quality of the sessions, the quality of the people, the camaraderie, and it's just basically a bunch of people that are super excited about using technology and digital tools to make the world a better place. So you can't really get better than that. It's a bunch of nonprofit social media nerds, which is kind of my thing. So I really love it. It's pretty casual. It's not a lot of suits and ties, but still the level of quality in terms of the educational sessions and the breakout sessions are really, really high. So I was really excited to outdo myself this year. I presented 4 times. That's 3 different sessions. One session I presented twice. And I'm not sure if I would do that again because it was pretty exhausting. And I didn't have enough time to go to the other great sessions that I wanted to go to, but I did go to a couple. So I have some notes here. And really, the staff of N10 needs to be given a rousing round of applause for the amazing work they did. They're a nonprofit as well, and this conference is run mostly by volunteers and by their board. So the fact that they had over 2,000 people is pretty incredible. All right, so let's see. On the first day, I attended 2 sessions, but I also was really excited to be a facilitator in a session with Beth Cantor, Marco Kunze, and Josh Hirsch. And the title of the session was Envisioning a Digital First Nonprofit, Mindsets and Skill Sets for Transformation. So this session was kind of unlike any other I had ever participated in because there were no PowerPoint slides. There were no long presentations. It was 100% participatory and interactive. And we led a group exercise around different pieces of the digital maturity matrix. And the digital maturity matrix is a tool that Marco and Beth and others have used to help nonprofits determine where they are in terms of digital maturity. Are they a digital first nonprofit? Do they still have a little bit of a ways to go? And we use different colored Post-its and Sharpies and all sorts of different fun things. It was very, very cool. My blog recap highlights all of this, has some photos, and also I include in my blog the links to the collaborative notes, which will have the slides and all sorts of takeaways for the session. And that's something else that is unique to the Nonprofit Technology Conference. They offer all of these resources afterwards to the community, and it's really pretty special. So my top 3 takeaways from that particular session: number 1, creating a culture that embraces digital is imperative when you want to make any kind of headway. So you really need to start with culture first before you can start thinking about the great fundraising campaigns you're going to run, or the CRM that you're going to adopt, or the fantastic Facebook fundraisers that you're going to implement. If you don't have a culture that buys in and accepts and embraces digital, which is, it's crazy to me that there would be a culture that didn't embrace digital, because don't we use the internet in every aspect of our life, and aren't we all glued to our phones all the time? But some nonprofits are still a little bit hesitant to incorporate digital throughout their marketing and fundraising and their internal efforts. So getting that buy-in first is really imperative. And we actually had a really great discussion about how to do that. And then number two, tackle implicit bias in your workplace. My group talked a lot about that, because my group was focused on audience, personas, and segmentation. How do you figure out who you're trying to talk to and what kinds of resources they need and they want, whether it be donors or supporters or clients or internal staff, whoever your audience is. And tackling that implicit bias, tackling those myths and misconceptions and stereotypes is vital when you are starting to spread your message on digital. And then number three, becoming digital first is as much about mindset as it is about tools. And we didn't really, now that I think about it, we didn't talk about specific tools at all in this session. It was not, 10 ways to use Instagram to raise money. It wasn't like that. It was more, how do we transform our organizations from the inside out so that we can become digital first. We can have that digital transformation and make that seamless transition over into using and integrating digital technologies in all levels of our work. So those were the three takeaways. That was a really great session. Thursday morning, I led a session called The Accidental Techies Guide to Creating Awesome Online Learning Experiences. And I worked with my colleagues at TechSoup, which is a nonprofit based out of San Francisco. They helped me develop my online course. And I also worked with Maureen Walbioff, and she is the Accidental Techie. She's a nonprofit digital strategist and technology coach. This session was fantastic. I love having multiple people present rather than just me standing up there with PowerPoints for an hour and a half. Our session really focused on how either nonprofits or consultants can create online learning experiences that will either generate revenue or will help you accomplish your goals, whatever your goals may be. Maybe you have a training program that you want to take online. Maybe you have a certification program that you'd like to take online. So the room was packed. It was standing room only. It was overflow out the door. It was awesome. Everybody was coming from a different perspective, which I think was great. So we asked everybody to write down their titles to their sample online course, and they're all in the collaborative doc, and it's really pretty cool. So my top three takeaways from that session, and of course I had a million slides and a million takeaways, but the number one takeaway when creating an online learning experience is to think about people, then platform, then process. You have to start with people first. You can't create something without knowing that there's an audience out there that actually wants it. So you could do that, but it wouldn't work. And that's why I really enjoyed working with TechSoup to create my social media marketing courses for nonprofits, because I knew that this was necessary based on my client work, based on my, all of my interactions with nonprofits, my speaking, my consulting. I knew that a 101, a 201, I knew these kind of courses were needed, but TechSoup really helped me validate that audience and make it sort of a viable proposition. So if you have an amazing partner, that's always great. But if you're doing it yourself, make sure you consider people and then platforms and then process. And then number two, clearly identify the problem you're solving. You have to be solving a problem, okay? Or especially if you're selling a course. If you are running a certification course that's required for social workers in order to go on with their jobs, if it's mandatory, that's a little bit different, but still, to get people's attention, to get them excited, to get them to go through the entire online learning experience, I really believe you have to have that problem statement. I know you have to have that problem statement. So what I encourage people to do when they're thinking about the audience, they're thinking about the subject for their online course, their webinar, is to finish this sentence. I am creating this course to solve a real and specific problem that is XYZ. I am creating this course to solve a real and specific problem that is this. Ideally, the real and specific problem would have been brought up to you by your audience. So a good example is every time I speak on storytelling, I just did a presentation in Connecticut yesterday, I get the same 5 questions every single time I speak. So that validates to me that either I need to be writing blog posts about this, writing a book, maybe doing an online course or some coaching around these 5 questions because they're validated by my audience. I mean, this is what they want. So think about frequently asked questions, think about pain points that you can identify. Number 3 is really important. So number 3 is make learners a promise. Now you want to make learners a promise that you can keep. So we talked about Bloom's taxonomy. Now Bloom's taxonomy is a theory of learning where learners move from the basic stage, which is, understanding, then identifying, then analyzing, then creating, then building. So I have all of this in the collaborative notes document. If you go to my blog, you can look it up. But make learners a promise and don't promise them everything. Don't promise them everything in one course, in one webinar. You're not going to be able to deliver everything. So that's why I do 3 different webinars all around Instagram with Charity How To. There is no way I could put every single bit of knowledge that I know for every level of learner into one 90-minute webinar. So I had to create 3 different levels. So make learners a promise. If it's a 101, be very clear that it's only going to be identifying and learning and understanding. If it's like a 201 or a 301, then they're going to start to analyze and build and create their own plans or their own calendars, whatever it might be. So make learners a promise and stick to it. Make it a promise that you can keep. All right, my 3rd session, which I delivered twice, and I delivered this. I did a presentation with Josh, and it was really, really great. It's called 10 Simple Digital Ways to Build Your Nonprofit Email List. What the Nonprofit Tech Conference did this year that was different, they had half-an-hour sessions back to back. So it was kind of quick and sweet and dirty half-an-hour sessions. The sessions looked amazing, and I couldn't go to any of them because I was delivering 2 of them. So next year, I really want to make a point to actually go to some of them because they looked amazing. But very tactical, very to the point, very much like this is actionable. This is, applicable to your job. This is how you're going to use it. So Josh actually handcrafted, like a total labor of love. He must have spent hours on it, a Goonies themed slide deck for our presentation. And we had Goonies buttons and we had a whole Goonie theme, which honestly, I think that we're old or something. I don't know. It seemed to go a little bit over the heads of the very young kids that were at the presentation. But the people that got it. Anyway, it was wonderful. So if you want to check out that slide deck, it's in my blog post, and I'll link to it in the comments. I'll put it, I can send it to you. I mean, it's on my blog, but it's entirely Goonies theme. It was awesome. We also incorporated interactive tools like Menti, which is Menti, and we did an interactive word cloud, which is really cool, and Slido, which is slido.com, and you can crowdsource questions. And for a short session, like a half-an-hour session, you don't have any time for Q&A. So what we did is we had Slido. It was just a code that you put in your phone, and then you could enter questions, and people could vote questions up or down. So the most popular questions would rise to the top. And when we had like 2 minutes at the end, we could answer those questions. We also have those questions now for future content creation. I mean, I'm going to go through those questions and make sure that I answer all of them. So our top 3 takeaways from those sessions: number 1, use all the channels at your disposal to build your nonprofit email list. Use every single interaction you have with people to build your email list. Get those emails. Number 2 is to use your social media bios strategically. Use the link in your Twitter bio. Use links in your LinkedIn bio, link in your Instagram bio, link in your Facebook about page. Use your social media real estate strategically. Send people to your email subscription page rather than just your homepage. So have that call to action within your social media bios. And then the third most important thing to understand about building your nonprofit email list is that you can't ask people to join an email list. No one wants to join an email list. No one wants to get another email blast in their inbox, but you can ask them to join a movement or to help you create change, to help you end hunger for children, to help you end malaria. You can ask people to be part of a movement and part of a community, but please don't say to me, join my email newsletter, because I don't want to do that. Okay, to wrap up, this is going to be a really short and sweet Facebook Live, but I'm just glad that I got to come on here and see all of you. 2 other highlights. I attended one of the best sessions I've ever attended. It was Beth Brodowski. She has the Driving Participation podcast, which is a fabulous podcast for change agents and nonprofits. And I've been on that podcast. Disclaimer, I don't remember the episode number, but it was last year. So I was on that featured on that podcast, but it's a great podcast nonetheless. But she gave a fantastic presentation called Making, Managing, and Marketing a Podcast. And it walked you through step-by-step how to create, how to name your podcast, how to create the idea, right through the technology needed to publish it, to promote it, to edit it, to get music for it. It was really fantastic. It was very comprehensive and kind of lit a fire under me to maybe create a podcast along with everything else I have going on. Then another highlight was the Crafting Change beer dinner, which was a dinner hosted by Tim Sarantonio, who's the director of strategic partnerships, and it was hosted by Neon One. He works at Neon One. And it was a small, very intimate dinner as opposed to all of the other happy hours and conference events, and everything was so chaotic. But they wanted to have a so-called Jeffersonian dinner, which is a big table and everybody talks one at a time. So there's no side conversations. There's no jumping in and out of topics. And it's all around one topic. And our topic this year was, are humans necessary for fundraising? And it was pretty awesome. So we, Josh and I actually did a recap with Tim at the conference. And that's also up on my Facebook page if you want to hear the full recap of that. But that was a definite highlight. We had to put our phones away. We had to really concentrate. We couldn't interrupt. The people that maybe talk too much and add too much to the conversation were encouraged to listen a little bit more, which was nice because I have a really hard time. I like to tell people what I'm thinking, but I thought it was a really interesting and different and unique way to bring experts together to talk about a subject, and I really liked it. Okay, so well, we're at 12:20, and I really appreciate you being here with me today. If you went to Nonprofit Technology Conference, let me know. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Connect with me here. Let me know your thoughts. And if you are going to either the Cape Cod Digital Marketing Summit, if you're going to Cause Camp, if you're going to Icon, if you're going basically probably to any conference in the next 6 months, see if I'm there, because my dance card is packed, but it's great. It's the way I like it. I love speaking. I love being around nonprofits and helping them with their digital strategies. So I'm going to let you go. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday. And I just wanted to pop in here and say hello, and then I miss you. And I will be back next week with Josh, and we're going to highlight and go over some of the main points of our presentations for the AFP conference. All right, have a fantastic weekend. Bye.